Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this evening I am going to be giving you an update on some transfer news. So I am going to be talking a little bit about Liverpool's transfer news, also going to give you the latest news regarding Odion Ighalo, but I will delve into the topic of Odion Ighalo a bit later on in the video. So we will start with some Liverpool transfer news. So obviously from a Liverpool's perspective, they'll want to make more signings in the summer, and I do believe they are going to make some signings in the summer. I also do believe, on the other hand, that Liverpool will get rid of some players in the summer. Now, Liverpool have got quite a few, players on their agenda who they could go in for in the summer. Of course, Kylian Mbappe is one of the players on their agenda. I think, several clubs have been in for Kylian Mbappe. I think, as far as I know, at the moment, he's being offered around £21 million a year to stay at PSG. I think Kylian Mbappe is like the second most expensive player in the world of football, just behind Neymar, Mbappe and that. But how would Mbappe, fit in Liverpool's team if Liverpool did actually, recommend him in? But he is only young. So he's one player on Liverpool's agenda for the summer. Also, Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen, a pretty decent player. Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Bayer Leverkusen, so he's another player on Liverpool's agenda. Of course, Jadon Sancho, Liverpool have expressed an interest in him, but there's quite a few clubs in for him. My club, Man United, are in for Jadon Sancho. Also, Chelsea are in for him. Liverpool have also got an interest in Timo Werner from RB Leipzig and that. But Liverpool, of course, will want to make some signings in the summer. I do believe the players that Liverpool could get rid of in the summer, though. I think Nathaniel Klein is definitely one of the players that will leave Liverpool in the summer. Obviously, he's very injury prone. He's currently injured at the moment, and Nathaniel Klein doesn't even get in Liverpool's team because obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold is, Liverpool's preference ahead of, Nathaniel Klein. So I think Liverpool could all move him on. I think, there's quite a few others as well. Adam Lallana, he also could be moved on. He's been a pretty decent player for Liverpool, Adam Lallana, but he doesn't really get in the team enough, and Liverpool have got, a lot of midfielders in their team. So he's another player that could be moved on. Divock Origi, Liverpool could consider selling him in the summer. Now, Divock Origi has had some good games as a Liverpool player. He's not first choice, so he's there as a backup option. He's obviously behind the likes of Firmino, Mane and Salah is Divock Origi. But, I think one of his best games was that game against Barcelona last season when Liverpool did produce that miraculous comeback, when there was 3-0 down from the first leg. But I think he scored twice in the second leg against Barcelona. So I think Liverpool will consider moving him on. Also, Shaqiri, I think Liverpool paid around £13 million for him from Stoke. He's done okay as a Liverpool player. He's currently out injured at the moment, is Shaqiri. He's not a 90-minute player like I mentioned, Shaqiri. He tends to really make an impact, from the substitutes bench. But he's there as a backup is Shaqiri. I think Dejan Lovren is another player that Liverpool will consider getting rid of. Because Dejan Lovren, he's just recently come back from injury, and Liverpool have also got a lot of centre-halves in their team, so I think he's another player they'll consider getting rid of. Maybe Joel Matip, maybe not in the summer, but maybe some point in the future Liverpool will consider getting rid of him. So yeah, maybe Salah some point in the future, will get sold, but I don't think he'll be sold in the summer, will Mohamed Salah. Liverpool paid around £35 million, was it, from Roma for him, and he's done really, really well for Liverpool. I don't think he's done as well this season. I think he's had a lot of bad games this season. He has created a lot of chances, but he just hasn't been clinical enough as Mohamed Salah. I think the likes of Firmino and Mane have been in much better form than him. Overall, they're not better players than him, but I think this season they have been in better form than Salah. But Salah, I think, scored in his last couple of games, but I think his record against, the elite opposition, is actually, very, very poor. But if Liverpool did sell him whenever, I think they'd just generate a substantial amount for his departure. They'd definitely get more than the £30-odd million that they paid for him from Roma. I think they could get probably around at least £100 million for Mohamed Salah, definitely in that. And yeah, so Liverpool will probably get rid of players in the summer. Of course, they've got Takumi Mino before the January transfer window opened, but it actually got officially announced at the beginning of January that Liverpool had got Takumi Mino for £7.25 million from Red Bull Salzburg, and that he's played a couple of times. He tends to get his chances in the cup games, and that probably will get his chance in the fifth round against Chelsea. But, I think he'll obviously, get more chances, next season, depending on, who Liverpool can get rid of. Because I think Takuma Minamino can play up front and he can also play as a midfielder in that. So he'll probably get more in the team, going on into next season. Liverpool wanted to actually, make more signings than Minamino in the January transfer window, even though realistically they didn't really need any signings. But reflecting on the injuries they've had this season, they wanted to get some players in to cover up for their current injuries. Their only absentees now is Nathaniel Klein, like I mentioned, James Milner. I think he's recently, rejuvenated himself as James Milner. Even though he's aging up, I still think he's going strong as Milner, and he's had some good games for Liverpool this season. I thought he had a good game in the third round against Everton before he came off injured, to be quite honest with you. But he's injured. Obviously, Mane is injured. But reflecting on the injury to Sadio Mane, that's not affected Liverpool in a bad way because he's one of their imperative players. I think his injury is quite severe. It's Sadio Mane's. It is quite severe. So I think, they're the only absentees. Like I said, Shaqiri is still out injured. But, you've had the likes of Chamberlain that's just recently come back from injury. And I think since he's come back from injury, Chamberlain, he has rejuvenated himself. He has sustained quite a few injuries as a Liverpool player. Also, Fabinho's just recently come back. I think he's also done well for Liverpool in their midfield. So they have had a lot of injuries this season and that. Definitely know Liverpool are going to win the Premier League this season. They only need 6 wins from their 13 games. 6 wins out of 13 for them to clinch their first ever Premier League title. So that means it will end their 30-year drought. It's going to be Liverpool's first ever Premier League title, but it will be their 19th overall. So that means, there'll be just 1 title behind us because, we're on 20, titles, at the moment. So we're obviously, the most successful team in England historically, of course, reflecting on the titles we've won. Liverpool's next game is away to Norwich. They'll be looking to extend their unbeaten run to 43 in the Premier League because they're unbeaten in 42 Premier League games at the moment. Obviously, they haven't been beaten at Anfield for almost 3 years now. The last time they lost at Anfield was back in 2017 to Crystal Palace, and they have won 24 games out of 25 of Liverpool. And, we're the only team that have taken any points from them this season. Liverpool have registered 73 points from 25 Premier League games, so they are breaking records of Liverpool. They are breaking records. And I definitely think, they can, break Manchester City's record from what they did a couple of years ago. Minimum, they'll match, what Manchester City did. I think Liverpool minimum will finish on 100 points, probably more than 100 points. And I think possibly, they can replicate what Arsenal did in 2004 because Arsenal are the only team at the moment, to go undefeated in one Premier League season, in the Premier League era, that is. But, Liverpool are definitely not going to win it this season. Of course, if Man City don't win against West Ham tomorrow, then Liverpool then only need 5 wins to clinch the Premier League title and that. But, they've got a really, really good squad, like I mentioned. Liverpool, also, Jurgen Klopp's a very, very good manager. And his philosophy is right for Liverpool Football Club. And I hate to say all this because, I'm a Manchester United fan. But, I've got a lot of honesty about, what I see. Liverpool play great football. They score good goals. They create good chances. But, they've got, Allington in goal. Not the best goalkeeper overall in the world. But I'd say at this present time, he's one of the best in the world. They've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, definitely the best right-back, in the world, I'd say. One of the best right-backs in the world. Obviously, he came through Liverpool's youth academy. Did Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, you've got Andrew Robertson, who Liverpool only paid £3 million for from Hull. Very good left-back. Virgil van Dijk, best centre-half in the world. Liverpool paid, £75 million from him. I think he's actually, Liverpool's most expensive signing is Virgil van Dijk. You've got a great attacking trio in Salah, Firmino, Mane. So Liverpool have got a lot of great players in their team. Obviously, Liverpool, will be winning their 4th major honour under Jurgen Klopp, of course, because obviously so far they've won 3 major honours under Jurgen Klopp. They won the FIFA Club World Cup earlier on in the season. They won the Super Cup earlier on in the season against Chelsea, and they also won the Champions League at the end of last season against Tottenham. And obviously, Liverpool have also got a fantastic pedigree in the Champions League. They are the most successful team they are the most successful, Champions League winners in England because, they're in terms of the English clubs, Liverpool have won the Champions League the most times. They have won it 6 times of Liverpool. They got to the final the season before, but lost to Real Madrid by 3-1. So they could win the Champions League this season, could Liverpool, let alone the Premier League. So they could actually, win the double. I don't see them winning the FA Cup because obviously, the FA Cup isn't a priority for Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp isn't really taking the FA Cup serious. Obviously, they are still into the 5th round of the FA Cup though. It's the first time Liverpool have progressed to the 5th round under, since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in back in 2015. You saw my reaction for the Liverpool Shrewsbury game. Liverpool won the game by 1-0, surprisingly, because, Liverpool, played their under 23s and, Jurgen Klopp did get a lot of criticism for that. People had different perceptions on it. Some people said it was the right decision and some people said, it was the wrong decision and that. But Liverpool, to be fair, have played a lot of games. So obviously, Jurgen Klopp just felt as though that the senior players, just basically needed a rest. But they did win the game 1-0. A lot the youngsters did well, to be fair. Van der Berg did well at centre-half. Adam Lewis did okay. Leighton Clarkson, Jake Kane, Nico Williams, Curtis Jones, he's on 2 senior goals now, is he, for Liverpool? Harvey Elliott, Liam Miller was playing. So yeah, they went with all their under 23s and that. From a Shrewsbury perspective, they would have been delighted to take it to a replay, but they would have been delighted about that, don't get me wrong, but, they'd have been infuriated that they didn't go up against Liverpool's first team, basically. But, Liverpool did progress into the 5th round, and they've got Chelsea in the 5th round, and I'd probably say Chelsea would win. If Liverpool, obviously, if they field a weakened team, you'd probably say Chelsea are going to win. It depends what team Jurgen Klopp puts out. I think he could actually play a similar team to what he did do in the first match against Shrewsbury, or maybe a similar team to, the game against Everton in the 3rd round. But, we will currently see. But, the league's a priority for Liverpool. But I think there's a chance they could win the Champions League. They've more chance than Man City because Man City haven't even got a pedigree in the Champions League. Liverpool have got Atletico Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League. The first match is Atletico Madrid, and then obviously the second leg is at Anfield and that. And Atletico Madrid are having a bad season. To be fair, they're sitting 6th in La Liga. I don't think they've been the same team, Atletico Madrid, since, Antoine Griezmann went to Barcelona. And, they're enjoying a difficult season. And, Diego Simeone has been a long-serving manager for them. I think now he's been at Atletico Madrid a good 8, or is it 8.5 years? Could, they possibly, get rid of Diego Simeone, or could he resign if they continue their bad run of form, Atletico Madrid. They've also got a lot of injuries as well, Atletico Madrid. They've got some decent players, but they've got a lot of injuries. They've got, Diego Costa out with injury at the moment. Diego Costa. Just need to put my phone on charge, work there. Just work there a minute. Yes, they've got Diego Costa out with injury. Alvaro Morata, Hector Herrera, Joe Felix, Kieran Trippier, Emmanuel Sanchez. Yeah, so they have got quite a lot of injuries of Atletico Madrid, so that could be affecting them in a bad way. I think they got Thomas Lemar, didn't they, last summer from Monaco? Was it for around £58 million? Don't forget Marcel have been in for him before. But I do believe Liverpool will progress into the last 8 of the Champions League, because I think they'll overcome Atletico Madrid in both of the legs, definitely in that. But we will see. But Liverpool will be focusing on their game against Norwich, obviously. They're 22 points clear at the top of the Premier League. City win tomorrow, they'll be still 19 points behind Man City. But then Liverpool beat Norwich, they'll go about 22 points clear. I think they're like 23 points or 24 points in front of Leicester. But yeah, that's your latest news on Liverpool. And like I said to you on one of my videos I did, was it yesterday? I will be doing a preview for the Norwich-Liverpool game. I did a preview, obviously, for the Man City-West Ham game yesterday and that. And, City now, obviously, just going for runners-up because they know that they're not going to win the title this season. I think it is between City and Leicester for runners-up, so yeah. So, like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp, he's got a contract with Liverpool till 2024, so within that period of time, he's definitely got, quite a lot of transfer windows, to make more signings. And I don't think, this is what Liverpool are one-season wonders. I honestly do believe that they'll, continue this going on into next season. I think they've got a great chance of winning it. But Liverpool have come close on quite a few occasions to winning the league. Last season they was unlucky. They finished on 97 points. They came close under the Brendan Rodgers era because they enjoyed one good season under Brendan Rodgers. They came close back in, was it 2009? So they have come close on quite a few occasions of Liverpool. But, their 30-year drought is coming to an end. It is coming to an end. And, Jurgen Klopp hasn't got the best pedigree. Let's be honest, he hasn't won loads in terms of silverware. But, I think he's now at that level, what he wants to be at. And I think, Liverpool are going to start now to replicate what we did back in the 90s and the 2000s under Ferguson. I really, really do I'm starting to believe that Liverpool are going to do this. And no one can stop. And I think, realistically, the only team that can stop them is Man City. That is the only team, really. So, and obviously my club, Man United, it's going to take us, several years to emulate to Liverpool and Man City's level. So, just take that into account. But like I said, Jurgen Klopp's always had the style of play. He's always had a style of play. Even when he was at Borussia Dortmund, he had a style of play. So take that into account. So yeah, so now I'm going to delve into the topic regarding Odion Ighalo. Now, according to Sky Sports and the BBC, which are two reliable sources, they are saying that Odion Ighalo has missed our winter break. So he's not part of the... He's being left out of the training camp in Spain. And the main explanation for this is because, the fears of the coronavirus. So due to this, Odion Ighalo is remaining in the UK and that. I think Odion Ighalo will be making his debut, though, against Chelsea after the winter break and that. And it's going to be interesting to see, how Odion Ighalo, fits in at Manchester United. And I do believe he will get given his opportunities. Odion Ighalo, did give his own perception on his move to Man United and... he said, it's a dream come true. He's obviously a lifelong Manchester United supporter. And, he didn't hesitate taking a pay cut because, we're paying around a third of his wages. We paid around £3 or £4 million to get him in on loan, from Shanghai Shenhua. But it'd be interesting to see, how Odion Ighalo does. He's not the only player that's been left out of the training camp in Spain. Obviously, you've got Paul Pogba that's been left out of the training camp. The main explanation for that is because Paul Pogba is continuing his rehabilitation from his ankle injury. Of course, Rashford hasn't gone, because he's going to be out for at least the next couple of months, with a double fracture in his back. So, Odion Ighalo is a good cover-up to Rashford, and he's also a good alternative to Anthony Martial. And hopefully can do well for us because Odion Ighalo did enjoy 3 years with Watford, so he is well proven in the Premier League and he's proven that he can score goals. He has played against us like 3 times before when he was a Watford player. So yeah, he has missed our current winter break, so I just wanted to update you on that. But, hopefully he can do well for Man United, Odion Ighalo. I'm glad we did get him in on loan because we did need a striker, due to the injury of Marcus Rashford, because Marcus Rashford has been one of our best players this season without a shadow of a doubt. And you've got Odion Ighalo now fighting for Anthony Martial's role. I think the club should be determined to give Odion Ighalo that number 9, and we should just basically rotate Martial back to the left-hand side because that's Martial's predominant position anywhere. That's Martial's predominant position. Martial now is into his 5th season at Manchester United, and analysing the vast majority of his tenure, he's been operating on that left. It's only been this season that Martial's been operating in that number 9 role. It's only this season that's been currently happening. And, he's been so inconsistent in his last 6 or 7 games. And, do you think the criticism is over the top a bit with Anthony Martial? Because you've had Shearer criticising him recently. Ian Wright's come out and said that Anthony Martial should be dropped. But I think if he continues with his bad running performances, he's one of the players that Manchester United need to sell in the summer. He is only at the age of 24, Martial. He's made 202 appearances, scored 60 goals in all competitions. And, he's had some good spells as a Manchester United player. I think his best season was his debut season, when Louis van Gaal did recommend Anthony Martial in. But yeah, we should, either drop him completely or we should put him back on the left-hand side and obviously, put Odion Ighalo up top. And this is, what I definitely would currently do. This is, what I would, this is what I would, currently doing that. But like I mentioned, it's going to be a big game against Chelsea after this winter break. Don't forget, it is on the 17th of February, which is a Monday. And it's going to be a difficult game. And I think the game against Chelsea could decide who finishes in the top four this season. Because at the moment we're sitting 6 points behind Chelsea. We should realistically be in the top four because we've dropped so many points this season and we've failed to, close the gap, when Chelsea have dropped points. And Chelsea have been so inconsistent this season. And this is the main explanation, why we're still in that top four race. But there's quite a few teams in that top four race anyway. To be fair, since Solskjaer got recommended in, we've had a really good record against Chelsea. Solskjaer's beaten them, I think, 3 times as Manchester United manager. He's beaten Frank Lampard twice already. So this game on the 17th will be Solskjaer's and Frank Lampard's third meeting as managers and that. We beat them 2-1 early on this season in the Carabao Cup. And we beat them 4-0 at the beginning of the season. We beat Chelsea 4-0. And we're beating them in the FA Cup 2-0 last season and that. So, yeah, I think we're unbeaten in our last 5 games against them. So, Solskjaer's not lost as Manchester United manager against Chelsea as yet. But, we've won his last 2 visits to Stamford Bridge. In the Premier League, our record at Stamford Bridge is disastrous. We haven't won it at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League since 2012. So, that's around 8 years ago now. We beat Chelsea. We're still in the top 4 race. We lose to Chelsea. I'm going to fully disregard that top 4 because that means we will be 9 points behind them and that. But yeah, so obviously, Solskjaer said the winter break is a useful period anyway, especially for our new incomings. I also want to give you some news regarding Bruno Fernandes. He's come out and said, he was unhappy with his debut against Wolves. That's from his own perception. My perception is totally comparison, and probably a lot of Manchester United fans' perception is totally comparison because I thought it was fantastic on his debut. Don't forget he had the most touches in the first half. He also had 5 shots and 3 of them were on target. And you could see that, he wanted to bombard forward and, he did really, really well. And, he's not an element of concern, Bruno Fernandes. The player is not the element of concern. The element of concern is the usage of the player. It's where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays him. Is he going to keep in his predominant position? Because he did start in his predominant position against Wolves, but then he got rotated as a holding midfielder, throughout the first half. So the interchanging was very, very poor in the first half of that game against Wolves. But, Bruno Fernandes in a defensive midfield role, you've got to say, would be a liability. Well, this is what Ryan Giggs recently come out with. But he's a good signing, this Bruno Fernandes, definitely. And he'll be making his second Premier League appearance against Chelsea. So that's the latest news regarding him. But, since Solskjaer got recommended in, he has recruited 5 new players to Manchester United. Last summer brought James, Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. And obviously, in the January window, he bought Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. So I think he spent over £200 million since he got recommended in, Solskjaer. He's had 3 transfer windows at the moment, like I mentioned, and he's brought 5 players in. It's questionable, will he be here in the summer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because if our bad run of form continues to persist, I think he, could be gone at the end of the season. It's very, very likely that Mauricio Pochettino will be our next manager if Solskjaer is to be sacked. But we won't get Pochettino in until the end of the current season and that. Because if Pochettino was to get a job before the end of this season, then obviously, Tottenham will be entitled to £10 million in compensation. But Solskjaer's been at Man United 14 months almost. He's been permanent boss for almost 11 months. And that was one of the mistakes Man United did make, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. And he has got 2.5 years left now on his current deal. I'm very sceptical that he'll see out, the remainder of his 2.5 years on his contract unless, we dramatically improve. I don't see him, seeing out his 2.5 year deal. And we decide to sack Solskjaer, we'll have to pay something in compensation. I think it did say we'd have to pay around £5 million to currently get rid of him. But, there's a lot of problems at Manchester United. There's a lot of cultural problems and we need someone to come in, to change the culture of the club. And there's a a lot of fundamental issues, problems with the management, problems with the coaching, problems with the, owners, you know, problems, with the executive, because obviously, want Ed Woodward and the Glazers out. Also, problems with the board, because I think the board has been a liability for several years, reflecting on their poor recruitment, and you can also say their poor selection of managers. And, there's also problems on the pitch, because there's still more players that need to leave Manchester United. I think we need to get rid of around 6 or 7, maybe 5 or 6, maybe not 7, about 5 or 6 in the summer. We need to get rid of more players. And I know a lot of players have left since Solskjaer's arrival. I think around 9 senior players have left since Solskjaer got recommended into the football club. But these still problematic players at Manchester United, definitely in that. So, we're not in the position that we should be in, reflecting on the money that's been spent in the club. Nearly £1 billion being recruited on new players in the last 6 or 7 years. We've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League and that. And, we're just not in that position, that we currently should be in. But I didn't expect us to win the league this season or mount any kind of title challenge up, but I expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We won't win the league next season. We won't win the league the season after. It's going to take us several years for us to be, title contenders. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 7 years ago now. So I think in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations will be that top 4, definitely in that. And like I said, we've got some ambitions this season, and one of those ambitions is to finish in the top 4. Obviously, I want to try and get some silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. But we can win the FA Cup this season, possibly. We can win the Europa League, so we can still get, Champions League football for next season and that. So take that into account. But, I don't think we'll ever be the team that was under Ferguson. Solskjaer can't invoke Ferguson's legacy at the club. And regardless of what manager we bring in, we'll never be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. I know he didn't win out in his first 4 years, Ferguson, but look what he went and accomplished after, not winning out in his first 4 years at Manchester United and that. But as far as I know, Solskjaer's the worst manager we've had. In my lifetime, it's the one of the worst we've had. Ron Atkinson wasn't so good either, but, this is the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era to this point under Solskjaer. So Solskjaer's, record is disastrous. He's lost more Premier League games, than he's won since he got the job permanently. So take that into account. We've got to make more signings in the summer, and we've got quite a few players on our agenda. Sancho, Jack Grealish, Maddison was, but he's closing in now on signing a new contract with Leicester. So there's still deficiencies in the squad that definitely need to be addressed in that. So that's everything to update you with today, guys, on this current video. So that's your latest on Liverpool's transfer news and everything else. Also, the latest news on Odion, Ighalo and Bruno Fernandes. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.